The next surprise is you never have to boil a noodle for this because we're using something called no-boil lasagna noodles. And you can find this in your grocery store. So you get a package, you bring it home, you open it up, and they look like this. You see? They look just like this. Remember, I said we're not going to boil these. So what do? Well, first we have to make our filling for the lasagna. So the very first filling starts with good ricotta cheese. And when you go to the store, you want to look on the container and make sure you're getting a natural product. Remember, ricotta is made from the leftovers of the cheese-making process. That's why it's called ricotta. So this is whole milk ricotta. So I've got that in the bowl. And now we want to add a couple of eggs. If you don't like using eggs, you could just use the egg white if you're worried about some cholesterol. And you could also use a skim milk ricotta. So you get this mixed up with the cheese. And by the way, I should mention, when you bring the cheese home, make sure that you drain it in a colander first and get off any excess water that would be there. So after you get the eggs mixed in, you want to add some of that cheese. And I have it grated here. So we're going to add a little bit of that. A little bit of salt goes in. And then I want to add spinach to this. So you can start with defrosting a 10-ounce box of spinach, frozen spinach. And there it is. We simply defrosted it, we squeezed it well so it's very dry. And now we're going to add it to the bowl with the ricotta. See how easy this is? And then you just mix this all in. It's very pretty to look at. All right, there is our filling. Now we can do the construction. And you want to get out a lasagna pan. And because we're using no-boil noodles, you're going to have to put down a really good bed of sauce. So you put a layer of sauce down in your pan. Just like that. Make sure it's even, so shake the pan so it's even. You can do this in a Pyrex dish as well. And then you take those noodles and you place them in the pan. They are overlapping, that's okay. Don't worry about it. And then you take some of this mixture and you spread it right over the noodles. This is very delicious. It's just so succulent. It's so easy to do. You can put this together in no time flat. But the critical thing is to make sure that you're adding enough sauce as you go along. So you spread it out. We're going to give it a little bit of cheese. Make sure you get in those corners because you really should fill this completely. Spread it out. And then you want to add some sauce. Take a little bit of sauce and you just dab it over the top, just like that. Dab it over the top. And you continue like this, making layers. So now we're going to put another layer of the noodles on. So there's our second layer. Again, you take some of that beautiful ricotta mixture. You could leave the spinach out of this if you didn't want to put the spinach in, leave it out. You could also use broccoli for this. Same thing, you could defrost a container of broccoli and you could use that instead. Right over the top. Beautiful. Some more of the Parmigiano goes over that. And then another layer of noodles. And you keep building like this until you get to the top of the pan. So I've made 3 layers in my pan. So it'll depend on what size pan you're using as to how many layers you will get. And you want your oven on now at 350 degrees. And this is going to bake for about 35 to 40 minutes. And then what you must do is let the lasagna just set up so that you're able to cut it into nice squares. You don't want to cut it immediately because it won't cut very nice at all. And now more cheese over the top, more sauce, and now the last layer of noodles. 1, 2. And the critical thing here is lots of sauce. So now you just pour it on because you really want those noodles to be saturated with tomato sauce. So make sure that all of the corners are covered. Get it all on, and that was perfect. That was just the right amount. More cheese, a good sprinkling. And now we want to cover this with some foil. Now you get out a piece of aluminum foil, put it right over the top tightly. You may want to put this on a bake sheet just in case there's a little bit of spillage. We're going to forget about this. In the oven it goes.